Have you heard of the whole like trend about people who get like really big meals and then they eat them in front of the camera, and then all these like
it's like an ASMR like
yeah, but now it's called like a mukbang or something.
no, I feel very
they
out
get
of the
paid
loop. It's trendy.
like a lot of money by like creeps who want to watch them eat and have like a fetish for it.
I am trying to make sure not our feet aren't in our videos because they're a bunch of freaking weirdos. I would say almost half of our followers are men. Why?
On YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube because of our feet.
As we zip up our
Let me make sure I got all my bases covered.
There's creeps everywhere. That's,
I know.
Exhibit A, B, and C why our kids aren't on the internet. And at least
Literally,
we can say that much.
That has just like solidified because especially with YouTube. Welcome back to the Motherhood Collective Co. But especially with YouTube because the comments that I delete from our Instagram, our YouTube page about our freaking feet, just like anybody can get on there and do whatever they want with whatever. I mean, you post, which is like
everywhere.
At
my size 12 foot. Just kidding. It's not 12. It's probably like an 11, but.
Well, they like them.
I guess I don't care about my feet.
I care about I don't want to be sexualized by men that are not my husband.
Well, when you say it like that.
I care about
I just
them.
don't like, I guess in my thought process, like people are going to find a way to make anything bad.
I know. That's gross.
Like literally eating. I mean, those people know what they're doing though. That's the difference.
Yeah.
They're like making these videos, eating like Chipotle burritos. And then they get paid because creeps are like, love to watch them eat the burrito.
Is actually so wild to me because hearing someone eat is so gross to me.
No, I think it's like the visual of someone eating. That's like a turn on. It's like when people are pregnant. That's like a turn on to some people. Like pregnant women.
Oh, like a fetish.
Like I've never been hit on more than when I was 8 or 9 months pregnant with both of my babies.
Seriously?
At the Lifetime Fitness in Parker. Yes. So both times. So when I was pregnant with Sunny, 8 or 9 months, like literally full term, wedding ring. You don't like them. And like full-fledged, so flirty the whole time because I would just go there. I didn't have kids. I just tan all day and swim and prepare for my baby. And then even when I had Sunny and I was pregnant with Ledger, same thing, wedding ring. And I had married men with children playing with my children. So, yeah, I see why like most affairs happen from gyms because I feel like you walk in there and everybody's just like, it's like a dating pool. I don't have that
experience. I put
what
my
gym
headphones
do you
on.
go to?
I used to go to Planet Fitness. And I put my headphones on, hat down, wouldn't look at a single person, wouldn't allow people to look at me.
You can't allow people not to look at you.
Well, I have my blinders on, so if they're looking at me, I don't know. Like, look at me all you want, but I'm not looking back at you. I'm not going to notice you looking at me because that's just going to like...
I think it's like full-fledged disgusting that there are like married men with children.
Yeah.
Who will... And it's not... It's not even, sorry, the way that you just said that made it sound like I am like seeking that out.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
So just to clarify to anyone who needs to know.
Not what I meant at all.
I was just disgusted by like the open door is my toddler's talking to your toddler.
Ew.
In the pool.
Mm.
And now you're talking to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what to do.
Mm.
I just think gyms are kind of like a no-no for Chase and I actually since that.
Brady and I built our gym and it's been so nice.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Yeah. No, gyms, it just opens up the door for half naked people. And I will say Brady and I, the first like year we were married, we worked out together at this place called True Fit by the Park Meadows area, which is now like a Red Rocks church, I think.
Oh yeah.
Best gym. It was like this high-end gym that we got for dirt cheap. Anyways, and I would just watch other women stare at him. Like, I think I'm always kind of oblivious to people looking at me. I just don't pay any attention. I think that happens when you bartend all through college. But I get very mad when I see women looking at him. I get very... What am I trying to say? That's
protective.
Yeah, but he's like the more petty than protective. Like jealous, but territorial.
Oh yeah.
Don't look at him.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I had I had that issue when Chase was like a musician and he would go on tour.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And I would be like I would be in the crowd and I would actively be hearing women talk either about him or that they were going to go get his number or something. And he is so loyal. We were just dating and he was at a concert. I want to say he was in Chicago, and a couple of the guys that were in his band, they came home and they were like, I just have to tell you this story about Chase. There were these 3 girls that like came up to him after the show and they were just like trashed all over him, asking for his number, asking to dance with him, like trying to like dance up, on him and stuff. And then they came up to me and asked me if he was gay because he was paying them like no mind.
Well, did I send you a reel one time that was like this lady praying? She's like, please husband, or God, please help my husband be rich enough to buy me a whatever house, but not rich enough to have a second wife. Yeah.
It's like,
it's like my worst fear. Not that it's not even like a founded fear because that would never happen.
No, that's like something like there's not a lot of things I can like confidently with 100% certainty say, but I like know that literally a complete naked woman could throw themselves on top of him. And I know that he would not do any, like I have so much confidence in his loyalty. That's like
agreed.
Why I married him.
It's a nice thing to
really have. Like, and he gets angry about that stuff. Like I even was like joking because he went to a bachelor party like a couple weekends ago and I was like, what if there's like strippers there? And he looked at me, he was like, I would literally drive home. Yeah. Like he was like mad that I even like joked about it, And I just like, I don't know. I just love that about him because it's just, it's very comforting. Nice even though like
100%.
I even think about, because my mom always said my dad's a pilot. She was always like, my husband could have a wife in every country if he wanted to, but like I trust him and he's loyal and
your dad is very charismatic. He's like, he is.
Oh, he's like the life of the party too. Yeah. Like I feel like he could have that kind of conversation. He could, but she was like, he literally could decide to do that if he wanted to, and I would never know. But he's like so loyal that I trust him. And then I was thinking about Chase's profession, and I'm like, all he ever sees are trees.
Other guys,
all those other like really sexy trees, and all the other dudes that are.
Well, Brady's
working.
got women that just come into his office and get completely naked under their gowns.
You're right. I can't believe that happens. Yeah. That's so uncalled for. Yep. She's like, yep. Yeah. A little different than trees, I guess. Okay. So sorry, we're kind of just chatting because we didn't get to see each other last week. So
which is like really just, like strange for us.
Yeah, I know that was. I was like, wait. She like texted me, she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, well, we didn't get to see each other before you went on your trip. All right. The first one is having multiple C-sections.
Oh, okay. So backstory, I posted, it's summer. So Jesse and I are kind of like, please help us pick a topic. We'll get back into the nitty gritty in the fall. But I posted like, what do you guys want us to cover? And then you guys answered what you wanted us to cover. And some of you, can I just say, need to go back and actually listen to our podcast because we talk about a lot of the things you guys were asking us about in multiple episodes, which is fine. We'll recover things, not a big deal. But you are missing out because I feel like every time we cover a topic, we have in our heads, like at least I do, oh, we already covered this. I don't have to go into it so deep. So like you're missing out if you're only listening to our new episodes. You really should go back and listen to some of our old ones.
I know, that's true. And there's just been so many things that we've covered.
It's just crust that I taste the tallow on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get this all settled and then I'm going to eat that.
Okay, hang on, let me just tell Brady to go take Lily.
Is she crying? No. Oh. Well, if you haven't listened to our episodes prior to this, then let me get you back to square one. Amanda and I both had somewhat emergency C-sections with our first babies, unplanned. And we both were super hopeful to have a VBAC with our second babies. And both had very random, extenuating circumstances that made it very unlikely or impossible for us to do that. And so now that just like puts us in a place of not really knowing exactly what is going to happen next time.
I do. I'm going to have a C-section.
You are? Because you go back and forth so much.
I just, the reason I had 2 C-sections is because I was sexually abused as a child. and my pelvic floor just does not feel safe. It just does not feel safe enough to give birth. And I re-traumatize myself every time I give birth. And because like it gives me, I've done EMDR for the PTSD, for the sexual abuse itself. But one of my biggest things that I had after I had Noah was like this man, night terrors of a man, like about to hurt me when I wake up in bed. And when I was laboring naturally at the hospital with Lily, literally was just having, like, I couldn't tell if it was real of a person in my room, like wanting to hurt me. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I just have gained so much respect for my body that I don't want to put it through that again. Because my body and my brain are just totally separate. When it comes to trauma, that's really just the truth and the fact of it.
Yeah.
And I can say with so much like a surety that I put in so much work for my mental health and my physical health between my 2 pregnancies. And I still had like severe PTSD, like flashbacks and all of that while I was laboring with Lily, and it didn't end well. So I need to have a peaceful birth experience.
Yeah. And that's kind of the goal, I think, is just to have peace. Cause like, I'm here to tell you guys, C-sections can be so beautiful, so wonderful, so joyful. I know that there's like a stigma, and I know that that's there for a reason, but I look back on my birth with Ledger, and truly, like, when I was postpartum with Sunny, especially the first year, but really the first 2 years, I thought about our birth every single day. It plagued me. Yeah. It was in my dreams. It was when I was awake. It was probably 10 times a day for like 2 years. I have not thought a single second about Ledger's birth because it was so beautiful and perfect and peaceful. Yeah. And in a lot of ways, almost identical in certain situations
mine was
to Sunny's.
Copy and paste.
So like, it's just, I feel like there's just so much that goes into it. But to give you guys hope, there's that aspect of it. A repeat C-section can be beautiful and peaceful, and maybe they'll even cut off some of that extra skin that you have. Like, I don't know, that's my hope. But there's also people who go on to have, like, my mother-in-law the other day said she was walking in a neighborhood with my sister-in-law, and they met some woman who I guess had just had her 5th C-section.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like, great.
That's like the big cue, right? Because like we don't know, neither one of us know a lot of people that have had more than 2.
Yeah. And I guess my aunt had 4, and I didn't know that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And that was like 30 years ago.
I'll tell you, I think there is something to be said about like with your first C-section, especially if it's not planned. Like we have a girl in our book club who knows, she's a twin mom, and she knows that C-section might be a possibility, and she's like totally fine either way. Whereas I think you and I were both like, this is happening naturally, vaginally. We both have like fear of the medical community, which, you know, whatever, that's a whole different story. And then to have our dream, I'm saying that in quotes because like
it is a dream.
It is a dream. To have the dream of this beautiful birth that you just see all over Instagram, honestly.
You're trained to believe that's the pinnacle of the human existence as a woman.
And you're also trained to believe that it should just be natural and easy by these gurus on the internet. And for some people, it's not, for a multitude of reasons. And I have said this to Brady so many times because we were so staunch in that as health practitioners before I had Noah. I think the human race has lost touch with birth, and it's not our fault. It's not my fault or your fault. It is like literally hundreds of years leading up to where we're at now. And it is literally not my fault or your fault that our bodies just honestly couldn't do it. But there is something to be said about that naivety being taken away with your first cesarean, where it keeps you up at night, where you think and think and think and think about it. And true. Most people that I talk to, their second one, a lot easier. I would say that my first one with Noah was actually very peaceful compared to the one with Lily. Lily's cesarean was actually it was pretty intense. It was pretty traumatic, I say, but I don't feel traumatized by it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I feel like there's the flip of the coin where you hear of women having like a home birth VBAC after 2 C-sections, or like a twin VBAC or a special scar VBAC. And so that's kind of, that's the thing to weigh, and it's always going to be the same conversation. And this is kind of like my thought process is, if I have to have another C-section, we would probably be done unless the surgeon says you're actually good to go for one more to whatever. But then my thought process is like, but if we have a vaginal delivery, then that just opens up the door to like, we could have 3 more. Like, and so I think that is when people get in their heads about like, why does it matter so much? Why do you care so much? You have a baby.
You can only
because
have major surgery.
It limits the amount of times that you're actually like, that's plausible to do that to yourself.
And the recovery after a cesarean is no joke. No joke. I mean, yes, after you have any baby, you're like rebuilding muscles and all of that, but you weren't literally cut open. You know what I mean? Like to rebuild those muscles and to heal your body after a cesarean is a much bigger chunk of change than healing after a vaginal birth in most cases.
I agree.
So it's like, how many times can I put my body through that? So there's also that question.
And it's different for everybody.
I know.
So it's hard to know.
There's not a
I started getting a little freaked out and honestly devastated because most of the people that I know who've had C-sections have only had 2 babies and then they're done. So it'd be like where we're at. Yeah. And we're just like, we're good. We lived. We're fine, you know, but it's just hard. It's hard to know. But only you know. And I think that there's beautiful options either way. I think that me personally, I'm going to really, 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 really pray and consider hopefully getting pregnant with multiple.
That would be the dream. If Jesse and I could both get pregnant with twins, 2 babies, really 1 pregnancy, like, 1 more surgery.
I even told Chase that today. I'm like, imagine if we had like triplets. Like we'd have to get like an au pair. Yeah. And he's like,
can we not talk about that right now?
Because then we were like just talking because like we have some friends who are pregnant right now and trying to get pregnant and all that kind of thing. And I'm like just kind of processing like, oh, what would you want to have next? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think I'd want to have a girl because Sunny's getting to the age where like, you know, sisters can only be so far apart to be like best friends. And then it's just kind of like, oh, Sunny would like take care of you. But I would love to have another son, but I think it'd be fun to have a daughter. And then maybe but then I was like, if we have 3, then like surely one of them will be a girl. And Chase looks at me and he's like, what if none of them are girls? I'm like, I don't know. But that would be ideal. Like if I have to have 1 more C-section, multiple babies, just be done with all of this. But if I have like
with all of that,
like when you start thinking about the whole rabbit trail of like getting pregnant, staying pregnant, not having a miscarriage, getting through birth without dying or something like happening. Sorry to be so like frank about that. That's just how it's felt with our births. And then it's like, gosh, like I just, that whole aspect of everything, like just give me all my babies and like, let's just be done with that part, because I think that has just not, I've just decided like, that's just not where I thrive in motherhood. I thrive when my baby's in my arms. I thrive nursing. I thrive co-sleeping. I thrive teaching and raising up and disciplining. And I thrive loving. Pregnancy and miscarriage and birth is hard for me, and it's drained me in a lot of ways.
There's also something to be said about age, because I was 27 when I had Noah, 26, almost 27. How old was I when I had Lily? 30?
No.
I'm 31 right now. So yeah, I was 30. I know I call myself 30 all the time, but I'm actually like almost 32. So. But I feel like there was a huge difference in the way my body healed from the cesarean between 26 and 30. Like it was harder.
That's so true.
And now I'm like, this next one's going to be even harder. Like there was no bounce back. I know it might appear that way from the outside, and that is honestly one of my biggest pet peeves when I share that I didn't bounce back and someone's like, yes, you did. I'm like, no, you don't.
I'll be the annoying one because I feel like you literally look the exact same to me.
No, like no, not at all. After my last birth. Anyways, there is like this also fear component of because I would love another 3-4 years age gap. If I'm 35,
that's okay.
What does healing look like though?
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks like the same kind of preparation, if not more, and just like being on top of preparation. Like, I think that that's probably one of the biggest things, the biggest tools. And I think you're doing everything that you could be doing, but
not sleeping would be good.
Everything that you could be doing. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Sleep is not on the docket right now.
I don't know if we answered the question because the question was not super specific, but there you go. That's what we have to say about multiple cesareans. 20 minutes later.
Oh man. We have somebody at our house. He's going to build me a fireplace. I want a fireplace for Christmas. I want a mantle.
Where?
To hang stockings from.
You have to have that.
I know.
So he's building you like a nice wooden mantle?
Yeah, you told me that. And I'm like, you're so right. What am I thinking? Yeah. Okay, nutrition for littles. I will just tell you what I do for Sunny because I just feel like this is such a personal thing because it has so much to do with finances. It has so much to do with your time,
and your kid
capacity, and your child. But for Sunny, first thing that I do when I open my eyes in the morning is make her breakfast because I just feel like that has a really big tell on her whole day. And with every meal, I try to do a fruit, a veggie, a protein, and then some kind of like carb.
Yeah.
So like for breakfast this morning, we did eggs with cheese, a kiwi. I cut up a beet. She loves beets. And I got her like a protein shake, chocolate milk shake. And then like for lunch, just some kind, like we did salmon, more beets, strawberries. And I don't remember. Oh, and she had a cookie. And then I don't know. I just feel like we have these little plates that are like these metal stainless steel plates that are butterflies, and they have these little compartments, and it makes things really fun to be able to do
like
that.
Like a bento box.
Yeah, it does. It totally feels that way. And then it's just fun. And so I think if you can make it fun and then you can make it inviting, my biggest advice would be if you are pregnant or have your first child, do not offer them any food that is different from what you're making for your own dinner. Because if you start that habit of like, okay, we're going to have steak and we're going to have asparagus and sweet potato, but I'm going to make you chicken nuggets. Buckle up because you're going to be doing that for life. And I can't. And then you also breed a picky eater. I'm like very convinced that picky eaters are bred. I don't think that it's like an inherent trait to like a human. I think if you only offer them certain foods and that's all that's in your home, then they're going to want those certain foods and they're going to grow a palate for those same foods. But if you're getting McDonald's every day, of course they're going to want McDonald's every day. And so, I say that to say, like, if you do that with your first, then you're not going to be able to do it with your second. You know, if you're making the chicken nuggets for your first and then your second comes along, you're going to have to make chicken nuggets for them too. Cause you can't be like, well, you're eating what we're eating. We're putting our foot down with you and you need to eat your broccoli. So I don't know, like, but I think you need to embody it. Like, I think it's so much more about like what you're doing versus what you're telling them to do. If I actually love eating veggies and salmon and all that, like, then so will they. You know,
I'll say I grew up on Chef Boyardee and McDonald's and Taco Bell, and I'm fine. So like, first of all, I would literally stay up nights because I was so worried about what I was feeding my kid, and then I just had the realization that he's gonna be okay. Like, I'm feeding him real food, he's gonna be fine. There are gonna be gaps in our diet as with little kids because that's just the world we live in, and that's really okay. So we do the same thing in terms of like protein first. The biggest thing on Noah's plate is always protein. And there's always a fruit. We're not big veggie people. Brady and I too. I just don't believe that veggies are that important. Now you can crucify me if you want to, but we eat a lot of meat and fruit. And so that's just what we do 3 times a day. Meat and fruit, meat and fruit, meat and fruit. And we have veggies. Like usually for dinner, I steam some kind of veggie because it just doesn't feel like dinner unless there's like some broccoli or asparagus there. And Noah loves all of that. I will say Noah had a texture problem. I almost put him in therapy for it with meat. So meat was always very hard. I could take ground beef. And I swear this is because I was vegan when I was pregnant. I have a texture
thing with meat sometimes, honestly. Like sometimes it just gives me the ick randomly.
He's bad. And I swear it's because I was vegan when I was pregnant with him. And his first foods were fruits and veggies. Lily's first food was her first like 4 months of eating anything was just meat stock. And the girl, her favorite food is steak and ground beef. So I would like hide ground beef in like a bean burrito and he would find it and spit it out. So like texture with meat was really hard. So we found other ways to get protein: cottage cheese, sour cream. We did, what am I trying to say? Greek yogurt, refried beans. I just made sure that the majority of what was on his plate was protein. And then we do supplements. I started supplements when he was little because he had such a meat aversion. And it wasn't like a meat aversion. I shouldn't say that because like he could do a rotisserie chicken. that is like the texture for whatever reason, that was fine. Uncured ham, that was fine. But he just started eating like chicken breast, and he's very good about trying something. Anytime like something's on his plate and he's like, I don't want to try. I'm like, buddy, that's gonna be your new favorite food. Why don't you just try it a little bit? Like we had dumplings from Trader Joe's. No, they were from Sprouts.
I love those.
And he's like, it's squishy on top because he has a texture thing. Like it could be your new favorite food. And sometimes it is his new favorite food and he loves it. Sometimes it's not. Anyways, I'm getting far off the track. We do supplements as well. We do Mary Ruth's. She has a multivitamin that we do. She has
we do that too.
She has a probiotic that we do for him. We do Smarty Pants has mineral chews. So that it has like chromium, magnesium, a lot of other minerals. He takes that every day. He has beef liver gummies that I give him. From Amazon. They taste really good, well sourced, great option. And he drinks like half a pack to a full pack of Element every day. So I am somebody who doesn't worry so much about nutrition as long as I'm giving my kid real food at every single meal and we're not doing processed crap all the time. And then I supplement where I feel like I'm lacking.
Yeah. I think you just need to die on your hills you want to die on.
Yeah.
Like decide what's important for you.
Yeah.
And your kid and your family, and then just be consistent. Yeah. And I think having grace, like I think that's one of the biggest things about like the crunchy community that I think makes me crazy is that you can't go get Chick-fil-A or you can't do whatever because then that means you're just like
you're poisoning your kid
or you're just like
mom.
Being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe in that. I think that like
there has to be balance.
I don't believe in like keeping your kid from all of those things.
As soon as they leave the nest, they're just gonna totally
like you need to focus on giving them like a healthy relationship with food. That's why like almost every meal, even for breakfast, Sunny will get some kind of treat on her plate because I just include it on there and I don't say like it's not anything different. It's just part of the meal.
I do it. I used to do it that way, but Noah and I are very similar in that we will just eat sugar for our whole meal.
Yeah.
And we don't really. So we do when your tummy is full, we're going to have a treat. I don't sit there and say like, oh, you have to eat all your food, all your bite. No, is your tummy full? Okay, let's have some dessert. So that's kind of how we handle that. But we did used to put it on his plate. We just realized that was all he was eating. So we had to stop.
Yeah.
He'd be like, okay, I'm done. Bye. And then I'm hungry at bedtime. Which he still does every night, but that's okay.
Moving past pregnancy loss / miscarriage.
I don't know if you do.
I don't think you do.
I think that our country is so weird in that we don't expect women to grieve that as a loss of a child. And that's exactly what it is. You would never say to someone who just lost their 10-year-old child, when are you going to get over that? Yeah. You would never ask yourself if you just lost your 10-year-old child or if you've lost your mother or a sister, when am I going to get over this? You don't get over it. You just learn to live with it. I do think that part of pregnancy loss is like this fear of your own body.
Yes.
It is like this complete terror. Like and I've said it on our podcast a million times, the first thought I had when I found out I was pregnant with Lily, because we weren't trying, that was a total accident. Well, it was an accident for me. I think God did that. Was I don't want to die. And I was just complete terror to where I dissociated hard for the first 20 weeks of my pregnancy. But I don't have that fear so much after I've had her. I think getting pregnant with her and having her has kind of healed that terror. I think it'll always be in the back of my mind of like, will this happen to me again? But I don't think it will consume me the way it consumed me when I was pregnant with Lily. But you don't get over the loss of a child, regardless of if you had them for 5 weeks or if you had them for 25 years.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think you think about it less, like you said, once you have your baby. Because it was probably my like every third thought when I was like between loss and like holding a baby. And now that I have Ledger, I just don't think about it until I think about having another baby. And then I just wonder if that's like, did we really fix the problem, or is that a part of our future too? Like, I don't think it ever fully goes away, the fear associated with it. And gosh, being pregnant after loss is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's like a surrender and a fear and the battle between like worry and prayer and crying and rejoicing and like speaking in the what ifs and the, you know, if this happens instead of the like definitive language. It is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like it took everything in me to just exist most days. So do what you need to do to get through that.
Yeah.
And for me, that was getting very regular ultrasounds.
Yeah.
Despite what like all the crunchy community would tell me is safe. I needed that. And I just think you got to just do what you think you need to get through that, because it does end. Here I am like 8 months out. And I haven't thought about it.
Yeah. It's not an everyday thought for me anymore either. It is like sometimes
it's the worst thing we've ever been through though. Yeah. I mean, like I've never known devastation like the hopes and plans and dreams and the connection you immediately feel with your baby. And then like you said, and this happened to me 2 times in a row. And then to go on to get pregnant with Ledger and to actually try to believe that this would be it this time. And I mean, you go pee in the middle of the night and you wipe and you turn your phone light on to make sure there's not blood on the toilet paper. And it's constant. Like
until you have your baby, you will always be looking for blood.
Always. It's every little gush. Like I was going back and looking through even videos when I was pregnant with Ledger, and I had all these moments of like going back to those videos when I was there in the moment. I'm like, oh, I remember in that moment I thought I was bleeding. And in that moment I ran to the bathroom because I felt something. And in that moment I hadn't felt him move in a while. Yeah. And you know,
I hope that's not like what we do for every pregnancy. I really do.
I hope it's not either. But I think that's when I say like, let's just get this part over with, I say that, like, I don't say that kind of stuff lightly. Like if you guys have listened to this or if you know me, like that is not the kind of person I am in general, but especially when it comes to being a mom. But when you think about like the absolute battle it is to get your kid here, and if you struggle with pregnancy loss or you struggle with miscarriage or you struggle with a birth that didn't go the way you wanted it to, and any of those things or all of those things are traumatizing, at some point you're like, gosh, this just about kills me every time, but I'm going to keep doing it because the end result is so worth it.
Yeah.
So I know in my, like, who knows what it'll feel like next time, but I do know at least we have the hope to cling on to that. Like, it's not our forever. And, I'm sorry if that wasn't the answer you were hoping for, but it's just, I want to be real with you too. Like, I don't think it goes away.
Yeah.
I just don't. Day-to-day activities that make your house feel like a home and your life feel more purposeful.
I think rhythms. For me, I need to have like a rhythm, a routine. And when my routine is thrown off, I get a little antsy. So like just having things that happen every day. Like I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm making breakfast for my kids. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to come back up, make second breakfast. And then I'm going to clean while the kids play. That's like every single day. After breakfast, I clean up the house. And then I know we're going to do some kind of fun thing, you know, until lunch. And then we're going to eat lunch. And then we're going to come back to our house and we're going to relax and rest before we cook dinner. And then I know my husband's going to get home after the kids and I have eaten, and he's going to eat while the kids play. And I know I'm going to clean the house again after they go to bed. And then I know my husband and I are going to sit down and we're going to connect somehow, whatever we're going to do. I think that for me, like having those, I don't know, this was like staples in your day help. Because we're talking about activities.
Yeah.
I mean, I could give you what makes my house feel like a home, but activities, those are the things, like just predictability, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. Your house feel like a home and your life feel purposeful. Every Sunday I make like a list of goals that I have for myself for the week with my home. This week I wanted to organize all the closets.
You have a lot of closets.
There's just been a lot of things thrown into closets. And so this week's thing was organize the closets. Well, I had like so much fun with that today. I'm like almost done, even though that was like my goal for the whole week. Or it could just be to like create a vision board for this space in my house, or last week before my sister came into town to stay with us, it was like prepare a space for her and for her kids. So I got to go like shop for all that stuff. And for me, I think it's a lot about just like seeing a need and fulfilling it, or like, how can I give my kids fun in this space? You know, like right now my foot is broken, and so we haven't really had as much fun this summer that I would have hoped, but I bought a stair slide so Sunny could go down the slide, and I just bought Ledger like a little swing that I hung from the banister of our stairs, and he's loving it. And I think just trying to like love everybody in the home really well, and just try to find a little you know, moments to like make, like today I knew I had kind of exhausted myself to the point where I didn't get to do my groceries, which I normally do on Mondays, but I know Chase loves pokey. That's like one of his favorite dinners. So I just had it ready when he got home from work, and we just sat down together and had dinner. And last night we watched like a really special movie together, and the kids fell asleep on the couch, and we just got to hang out. And I think it's just like, I don't know. I think that as a woman and as a homemaker, it's like our job to just create these spaces for intentional moments. And I just find so much joy and purpose in being able to look around my home and know like so much thought went into the way I wanted to like arrange this space, and so much thought went into the way that I wanted to make this person feel loved. And it starts from like the first time I wake up in the morning and I brew my coffee to like at night when I'm like making tea and going to bed. And I just think carving out those regular, you know, I don't know.
And if we're making our house feel like a home, I do think that I feel like we're definitely coming out of with like cottagecore. Yeah, that's fine.
Able to pause or no?
Huh? Let's just step out. I'll keep talking. I feel like, what was I saying? Oh, Leggy boy. I do feel like the addition to character is coming back into our culture, because we went through this like minimalism phase, millennials did, where everything was like sleek and modern and new, and now cottagecore is like a really big thing. And I think the heart of cottagecore honestly is to bring life and character back into our spaces. So I think when you're looking at the setup of a room, is there something for every person? Is there a way you can make your living room be a place that your husband wants to be, your 5-year-old wants to be, and your 11-month-old wants to be, and that you want to be? And can you make it cozy? Can you make it welcome and inviting? And if you can do that in every room, which is a huge task that you should just take one space at a time, you can't not feel like your home has purpose. You can't not feel like your home's a home. And we're going to pause right here because Jessie is taking a call. I was just saying about how we've kind of gotten rid of the whitewash minimalism, and we're kind of heading into cottagecore, which I think the heart of cottagecore is
cozy.
And like also I was talking about, which I probably will, maybe I'll just cut that out. I don't know.
What?
Because I already said all of this, so now I'm repeating it.
Oh, sorry.
So no, that's okay. But like when you're looking at a space, like how can you make it feel like home for every person in your family?
Yeah.
How can I make my living room functional for me, my husband, my 13-month-old daughter, my 5-year-old son, my dogs? And if you're doing that room by room slowly, like it can't not feel like home.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like the whole, I don't know, I had a friend recently who moved into a new house, and she was so like I have to fill all these spaces. I have to cover all these white walls, all this thing. And I don't know. I just think like when you go to like, and she didn't do this, but I could see this happening of like going to rush to purchase things to like just fill spaces and be like, I need something on this wall. Here's that. I need to do this. I just think that like comes up empty. Yeah. You know, like you'll do all that. You'll spend all this money and you'll still feel like, oh man, like this isn't me, or like I don't even like this, or you know, something, I don't know. But I feel like when you take the time to, and maybe this is just not everybody, this is for me so fun and fulfilling to look at a blank slate and say like, how do I want to feel when I walk in here? and then just like watch it come alive and create with my hands and my brain, and like be able to have someone come into my home and be like, yeah, look at what I just like envisioned, and it just like I did it. And I think that that's just like the definition of fulfilling. But so is making a meal for my daughter, and so is like cleaning dishes, genuinely. So is maybe not cleaning dishes. Cleaning dishes actually are like my least favorite thing to do. I should have said folding laundry, because folding laundry makes me feel very purposeful. I don't know. I think just like for any of this to feel like it matters, you have to believe with your whole heart that being a mom and being a homemaker is purposeful. Yeah. And I think that that's where a lot of people just immediately disagree. So then nothing you do is going to feel like it's enough.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. It's a very internal thing.
Talk about the books in the book club. I've been following along from Ohio.
What's
been your favorite one?
Danish Way of Parenting is always my favorite one. Actually, do we have it done? M for Mama? Yeah.
M for Mama.
I think that we should, and we've talked about this before, but I think we should dive into each book each month, like one episode dedicated to the book. I think would be a great idea. I haven't started this month's book yet. Okay. This month has gotten away from me.
It's really good. It's really good. We're reading right now. It's called Parenting, the 14 Gospel Principles That Will Transform Your Home, or something like that. And it's written by a man that Chase actually knew. So we've been listening to it on audiobook together, which that's what I love about the last two books is they've been parenting books. Whereas like the first three were motherhood, which is like, obviously we care about that. Yeah. But I just think it's cool when there's a book written by a man for parenting. And it's a Christian book. I just love that. Our book club is genuinely such a sweet group of girls. And so I've just been...
It's been a lot of fun.
So blessed by that. Yeah. Perspective on vaccinations for babies as believers. I know it's a controversial topic. We've also answered this plenty of different times that
we're not going to talk about. We're
not going to share like our personal choices for our kids on our podcast.
But you can message us.
You can message us, and
that's just not our information to share.
It's not. And I think this is what I've had probably more people come to me and ask me this question than most questions about parenthood. And every single time, the only answer I'm going to give you, I'm not going to like give you all this like grandiose information. I'm going to say, what do you have peace about? Do not do anything you don't have peace about, and only do things you do have peace about. And that will answer your question.
Yeah. And if you want some like resources, you can reach out. We'll send you like some resources. I would say the only resource you should be looking at is the vaccine insert itself, like actually reading through it. Yeah. And you can find those at like Just the Inserts is a great resource for that. Or your doctor should have them.
I also have like, if you do message me, I have an entire note on my phone of like research articles.
Yeah. So just if you want actual, like if you're like, I just don't even know where to start. Where do I even get the resources?
Look at this.
I feel like I copy and paste that from a message you sent actually. So I think I have the same one. So regardless of who you reach out to, you'll get the same info. But what was I saying? Just, actually read the info. Don't just throw this decision off onto somebody else, especially somebody on Instagram, which we are the people on Instagram. I emphasize that came out of my mouth. I heard that.
What are we at? Because some of these questions could be a whole episode. So I don't really want to just
44 minutes, and I'm going to cut about 2 minutes out. So 42.
Okay, because some of these questions I'd love to do an entire episode on. Like,
let's do it.
This person said, I'm trying to give my kids a 90s unplugged type of childhood. Like, we could talk a whole episode about that.
That would be a fun one.
Balancing life with a 2-year-old and baby. Let's just do this one. How to handle the clingy, cranky season and mom brain. I don't know the full extent of that.
Yeah.
Clingy, I'm guessing clingy, cranky baby.
Yeah.
And mom brain.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here with my mom brain, what is happening? Mom brain, you can like supplement, you can focus on nutrition, you can have caffeine. And like, there's only so much any of that will do for you. there just comes a time where you accept that I am literally the brain for this entire house and all these people. I keep track of all of these running lists in my head, and it's a lot, and your brain fatigues, and it really is just okay. Just give yourself grace. The cranky, clingy stuff, it's going to end.
Comes and goes.
And if it's your first baby, it seems like a really big deal. I remember when and it's literally where Lily is right now. Like, there comes a time of the night where I know it's going to start. It's like 5 o'clock, right when I want to make dinner. And Noah wanted to be held. And if I put him down, he'd cry. And I was like so hard on myself. Like, why is he doing this? What's going on? Is something wrong with him? Like, should I be doing something different? Am I looking at his nap schedule? You know, it was a lot. And then he grew out of it. So now I have perspective. And when Lily wants me to pick her up while I'm, cooking dinner, I just pick her up. Yeah. And I'll put her on my back, or I'll just stop what I'm doing and we'll eat dinner 30 minutes later. Because there is something about me that I have come to realize through motherhood, is that I get very focused. I want this thing done, and I want it done right this second. I want it done by 7 o'clock, and I will move mountains to make that happen. And sometimes that comes at the expense of everybody that I know and love. And it's not a thing that I love about myself. It's really not. So
can you give us an example?
I'm trying to think. I could probably give you a million. Like what was a recent example? Moving. Okay. So we bought this hutch for my playroom, and then Brady had a neighbor come over and help him move it into our playroom, and it was bedtime, but I needed to move the things around in the playroom. And I legit, Brady had to stop me because he knows me, and he's like, Amanda, this isn't important right now. It is important. I cannot go upstairs. I cannot function. I cannot think about anything else until I put the furniture. If it's not in its final resting place, it's in a resting place, and there's not like this pile of stuff on the floor, and this stuff is moved to the basement, and the table and chairs are brought inside and cleaned, and all these things. And then I had to just like calm myself down and just leave the mess and go upstairs to help Brady with bedtime. But
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Lots of stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But even like cooking dinner, sometimes it's like and cooking is like a passion of mine. It's something that I legit enjoy. I look forward to cooking dinner every day, baking treats for people. I just love it. So like, and in my head, I like plan out my meal. Like, this is my end goal, is having this, and this. This takes this long. This takes this long. This takes this long. Let's work backwards to see when I have to start everything and at what time. And when a wrench gets thrown into that, I have the tendency of spiraling. And I have learned a whole kid and into my second kid that sometimes it just doesn't happen, and you have to be okay with it. So that's the reason why Cranky Clingy Baby was hard for me the first time around, was because it would throw a wrench in the thing that I thought I needed to have done by a certain time in my head. And I just don't have that as much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it gets easier with your second to just compartmentalize a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that it's not an active battle. I think that sometimes it's continually dying to your selfishness.
I agree.
It's a constant exposure of like, okay, why do I think that why do I feel like I'm entitled to so much, because I have this thing where I want to wake up slow and I want to go to bed slow. So I want to drink my coffee, and I don't want anyone to talk to me because I want to drink my coffee, and I will not do anything for anyone till my cup of coffee is gone. Sunny knows this. Ledger does not. Right? She knows if mom has her coffee, like that's her
Leave
time.
her alone.
And it's the time that I usually write. But lately I've just been like trying to, do, I don't know, other things that are less important. But usually I write something like first thing in the morning, and I protect that space. And I do think that as mom, you need to do that. Like, I think that there are times where you need to say, this is something that I really need, and I'm going to protect it, and not in a way that's going to be neglectful, but in a way that's like, I also need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
In my family, it's okay if they see me do that. But since Ledger doesn't know that my coffee time should not be interrupted, it feels like without fail, every time I get all like my coffee ready and I put him down, I give him like 25 toys so that he will just like do his own, and he just crawls over to me.
You've texted me that so many times. You're like, why won't he just play?
Excuse me, this is not what we're supposed to do. And then at nighttime, I love to make a tea. and take off my makeup and do my teeth and my contacts and take a shower or whatever and just like drink my tea and unwind and usually either read a book or listen to something on my phone. And I also don't want anyone bothering me. And so I've really had to, and what's the best is Chase will like honor that and he'll just like do whatever he needs to do so I can have that time. But then at the same time, I've had to feel the weight of like, but why do I feel like I deserve this?
Yeah.
Like if we actually do not deserve anything like apart from Christ, then I actually need to be more aware of my selfishness.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this so lightly because it's so balanced with the fact that like, I do know that we need time to like recoup and recover, especially if you're a co-sleeping mom. Like, let's just talk about the fact that my baby's going to be attached to me all day. And those 2 10-minute sessions I just referred to are the only times he's not, because the minute I'm done with my tea and I get in bed, the baby's coming right back on my boob and he's there all night. So there is a balance, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even remember what the question was.
Do you know what helps me with a clingy baby?
Oh, that's what. Why did I even say all of that?
What do you mean? Because I was talking about, I don't know. It was all related. It was mom brain. That's why I said it. What really helps me though.
Okay. Can I just finish? Okay. Full circle.
Please finish.
If you're struggling with a cranky, clingy baby, I think that what I initially tried to instill is like our selfishness. Because if your baby just like really needs you, and we've gotten yelled at for me saying something similar to this on the podcast before, but I'm going to say it again. We are their moms. We are their safe place. This is our job. This is what we've chosen to dedicate our life to in this season of our life. And sometimes that means you just let it be. Yeah. And you let the other things, and I'm saying this as the full-blown OCD clean freak that I am, you let the other things wait. Yeah. Because
and we're not perfect at it.
No, we're not. And like we've talked about that too.
We're not sitting here preaching to you that we're perfect at all these things. These are things that we are all actively working on. But completely on the same side of that coin you're just talking about right now. The thing that helped me get over myself in those moments where I'm like so zeroed in on something that I have to finish it was just really getting into the mindset of my baby. So like Lily, if she's sitting there and she's tired, her body's probably sore because her little muscles are climbing onto my counter 1,000 times a day. She probably is thirsty and she wants milk and she's freaking miserable just like I am, you know, at the end of a long day, because every day's a long day when you're a year old and you're learning all these new things and you're overstimulated. Of course you're going to cry. You don't have the emotional capacity to like calm yourself down. You don't know what to do to calm yourself down. To calm yourself down, you cry and you want your mom. And so like, I think just really try to see what's going on with them, see how you can tend to them, and then try to work around it. And then it ends. It so ends. It's totally fine. It ends. Eventually they do learn how to cope with things.
Yeah.
Without
I know. And then you almost get to this point where like with Sunny, I mean, she's only 3, but she fell asleep on my shoulder today.
Oh,
I took a picture because I couldn't remember the last time that happened. And I thought about how I just miss the picture. I miss that. And it only happens now usually if she's not feeling well or if she is, you know, really sick. Yeah. Because they get to this point where they're so hyper independent, and unless they get like hurt or they're sick, they're not coming to you for constant snuggles and affirmations and stuff. And so I think having that perspective too is like, okay, fine. Yeah.
Doesn't make it easy in the moment, because especially if you're like,
it's struggling, like an active battle you have to fight in your brain. It's like what, you know, if you're a Christian, it's like the battle between your flesh and your spirit. You know, it's almost the battle between your brain, your current brain, and your future brain of like, I know that this is a moment that I will never regret if I choose to just let both my kids sleep on me and I don't get the things done I needed to get done, or I don't text the people back or make the play date or whatever it is. Your future brain is going to be like, that's a good choice. Your current brain is like, but what about all these other things? Yeah. And that's the active battle we have to choose, and we have to fight. And there are times we're going to have to say, I'm sorry, kids, this other stuff has to get done. But like, you just hope that you make, you know, you navigate it situation by situation and just like give yourself a lot of grace and try to go to bed every night and just like relish in the good decisions you made and not the ones that you need to like go back and do differently. Just like, I don't know. I feel like we're generally pretty hard on ourselves. I know I am.
I am too. I think that's just comes with the title.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to raise children. It's
Yeah.
not something that should be taken lightly. So I think that just is the way mom's brains work.
I know. And I know we like barely talked about our book club books, but I feel like that also, that one book we read, they're all like morphing together, but it's the one, it was right before Emma's for Mama. Oh, it was Being There.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that was even after. I don't know. Being There, why being present in the first 3 years matters or something like that. Talk about feeling like raising kids is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I read that book and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was present for 3 years and I still feel like I did not do it the best, you know? Anyways, there's a lot of really good questions on here that we can dedicate a whole episode to. So we'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, agree. Any uplifting things we want to talk about before we go?
My flowers and my trees and my grass are like thriving right now. We've gotten so much rain.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten rain over here?
We have. I live 5 minutes from you. I don't even think we live like a full 3 miles apart.
But remember when I had that like horrible like flash flood and you didn't have that?
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, I remember you sending me pictures of it.
Flash flood down my whole street
so
and
Colorado's
down the whole mountain.
Weird. You know, I had someone watch my dogs over the weekend. I had her water my flowers and one of my flowers were dead when I came back. And it's not even mine. It's Susan's. And it's one that I had like pruned to perfection and had this. It was just beautiful. And now
So she didn't water them.
I think she did. I just, some people just have green thumbs and some people don't. And I don't know if she because the rest of my plants are fine. And I think maybe that morning she didn't water them because there's just the one it's Susan's, my mother-in-law's. I'm watching her plants while she's out of town. The one that's like right on my step, that giant one, it is so dramatic. If I water it like 2 hours late, it is wilted and just drooping onto the floor, and then I'll overwater it and then it's back to life. It's very dramatic.
That's how my hydrangea is.
That one was doing okay. So maybe that one just got accidentally skipped for a couple of days.
A positive thing.
Sorry. You're talking about your flowers looking good. I'm like, oh, sad. I better call Susan and tell her.
That's the first thing I thought of when I looked outside and I'm like, wow. And also the guy who just came to buy our kitchen table off Facebook, he goes, do you guys ever pan for gold? And I had to ask him 3 times what he was saying because it didn't compute in my brain. He's like, do you pan for gold? And I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to say right now.
What was he trying to say?
He's like, well, he told us about this historic river that flowed through downtown Denver into Castle Rock. And he was talking about how it was a huge gold thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, from looking across the street from you, I can see that there's big river rocks there that were not placed there. Like they're naturally occurring there, which means this might have used to be like a river. He's like, I bet from what I can see over there, you'd find a lot of gold.
You should get a metal detector. That would be a fun thing for Chase and Sunny to do.
He said it's like a sifter. Like you get a sifter, and he was like, and Chase is like, well, how do you know that you like when you find? He's like, oh, you'll know. It was like this whole thing, and I was like, now I feel like we need to go like hunting for gold in the backyard. So maybe like forest school.
That's fun.
We'll go. I don't know. That was just another funny thing that happened. But
what am I excited about? Honestly, you guys, I've had a really tough emotional few like months.
Your nails are really cute.
They're overgrown. I don't know when I'm getting them done. My toes are overgrown. I don't know when I'm getting them done. Birdie scheduled a dinner.
It's okay. Americans are the only ones that think that we need to end everything on a happy note. I really liked that about the Danish way of parenting.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to be happy.
Sometimes you just gotta be like, I'm not in a good place. The end.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Not like the end, but like I don't need to you don't need to tack something happy onto everything.
Yeah,
you're just in a weird place right now.
I am. I have like a weird, unsettled, like. I have been for months.
It's yeah.
It's weird. Anyways, and it's just been amplified.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know what's positive. Lots of things are positive, but nothing's just popping into my head.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, except
you made
for
a really good cookie.
My hutch. I love my hutch.
Hutch is really pretty.
I love it. It like makes me happy.
You found some wallpaper you like?
Maybe. I found like 4 different wallpapers I've liked, and then I buy them and I return them.
You should show me.
I'm so indecisive when it comes to wallpaper.
Alrighty, guys.
See you later, alligators.
See you next week.